Welcome back, everyone, to our series, Skills Translation. I am your host, Dr. Michelle S. Thomas, and today we're going to dive into the secure leader. And this is really important, especially for entrepreneurs to understand what leadership actually looks like before, during, throughout your entrepreneur journey, even if you're a solopreneur, because your leadership style is going to help better navigate the success of your business. It sets the tone of your business, it sets the expectations of the business, and it also creates the reliability of your business. You, as the leader, are responsible to establish this ecosystem for your business. So let's dive into the skills translation and why it's so important for us in today's entrepreneur journey. Mastering your leadership through confidence and decision making and reliability is so key. Oftentimes, when we start our entrepreneur journey, we're just kind of in the abyss, right? Like we're trying to figure this thing out. We know what we want to do. We think we know what it actually looks like and what the outcomes that we want to have. But as we are navigating through this journey, if you follow me a lot, then you know that one of the things that I say oftentimes is this is not a job or career journey. This is something that is a living, breathing process, right? Um, on a day to day basis, things are going to shift and change and interrupt your process or your thoughts or your schedule or everything that you have in mind to create shifts in what your original thought process is. Now, that's different than having your vision and your mission. So let's just kind of talk about that for a little bit. Your vision for your business is the 2 to 3 sentences that carries throughout time, transcends time of what the ultimate vision for your business is. Whether you're at the helm or someone else is at the helm or new processes or products are being implemented, the vision that you have for your business should remain relatively the same. Oftentimes we may tweak it or improve it, but if you find yourself continuously or constantly changing your vision statement, then I would ask you to take a moment and go through an exercise to really find out your why. Your vision statement should not vary too differently throughout decades or years. Let's look at some of our biggest companies out there: Chick-fil-A, Target, Nike. Some of these really companies that have been around for decades. The vision for the company has been consistent. Okay? So take that into your own entrepreneurial journey and apply this to your leadership style. Figure out your actual why and how you want to get from point A to point Z in this journey. Mastering this leadership is going to take time. It's going to take building of your confidence, but mostly it's going to take for you to sharpen your decision making tools in order for you to better navigate this business. If anyone makes you feel like that once you get into business, you have to know it all and you have to have it all figured out, then they're setting you up for failure because things are going to change. You're going to change. You're going to learn more. You're going to grow more. Your confidence in what you're doing is going to improve, increase throughout your journey, and it's going to show up in how you're leading this business. And your leadership style doesn't just show up with the people that work for you. It shows up with your customers. It shows up with your partners. It shows up in your social media. I look back on a lot of my videos that I did years ago, and I could see the insecurity in me. I could see the doubt in my eyes, whether it conveyed in the video or not. It's up to the audience to decide that. But I know that I saw it within myself, and it's only because my intellect wasn't different. The person that I am wasn't different. It's just I was in a new space. Like this entrepreneur journey is a new space. Whether you've been in corporate America or not, it's being in this space that often brings those insecurities, those inner voices, those problems, those setbacks that you're not really prepared for. But because I have these obligations to speak on stage or record things or whatever, I fulfill my obligation. But looking back on it now, I can see the growth in me. And that's what you want to know. As a leader, am I continuously growing? But in order for you to track that growth, in order for you to measure how you are as a leader, you first have to understand what your leadership style is. There's so many different styles out there. There's the aristocratic type, or the democratic type, or the negotiator, or the democracy, or the dictator style. Figure out what your leadership style is. There is no perfect template for anything because this is your business. I just finished a live session of my new Entrepreneur Incubator program, and I'm going to put the link down in the comments below. So if you're interested in learning more or going more in depth in any of these topics that I'm talking about, I want you to um, click the link below and explore what we offer into our new Entrepreneur Incubator program. But just today's session, we were talking about interruptions. Today, we were supposed to go over the webinar that they received a week ago regarding the legal considerations that entrepreneurs need to evaluate when you launch your business. However, when I got ready to start today's live session, there was a whole lot of technical difficulties and interruptions to me getting to the session. And I have students that are in the program, so I had to send a message out to them through our portal and let them know what the delays were and give them a new link in order for us to meet. When we got into the session, it prompted me, even though we had a scheduled process, it prompted me to begin the conversation about understanding the interruptions of business. And why am I talking about this during this leadership, the Secure Leader program? Because as a leader, you are the North Star of your business. You are the navigator of your company. And if you are in peril, if you constantly are hair on fire type of person, if everything, the sky is always falling, then that's how your business is going to operate. That's the tone that your team and the customers and the people around you are going to adapt because everything is a panic. And so instead of jumping into what the scheduled thing was, they're going to get a webinar for what we were scheduled to do today. It was important for me to talk to real entrepreneurs that are starting out about how to navigate those interruptions and then get yourself back on task. Because in today's world, you can create the best schedule, you can decide on the best vision and process for your business. But listen, life sometimes be lifing, right? Life comes at you like with the 1-2 punches that you wasn't really prepared for. And oftentimes as entrepreneurs, we don't get prepared on how we handle the what ifs. As leaders, it's even more important for you as a leader to understand what your triggers are. Understand, how do you handle stress? How do you handle setbacks? How do you handle problems that are going to occur in your business? How am I going to handle that? Set that tone. And if you've been in business for a while and these are things that you haven't considered, it's never too late. It's never too late for you to actually go back to your team, have some transparency, let them know about the awareness that you have, and be able to step forward. Right now, as I'm recording this video, I don't know when you're watching this, but as I'm recording this video, we are in November of 2024. So this is what I call Q4. This is my planning period normally. This is when I go and do the evaluations of my business operations and what happens, evaluating my team, have my team to evaluate me, give feedback. And there's a lot of moving pieces that happens during the fourth quarter because I want to make sure that we enter into our new season, our new year, with clear expectations and clear goals, and everyone is understanding. And I'll be the first one to tell you, there were times that I wasn't great at this. I didn't do it right. I didn't do it right because I wasn't a secure leader. I was secure in who I was as my leadership style, but in this entrepreneur journey, it shook me. Because now, instead of me having a regular paycheck or having a boss and a VP and an owner to help me make these decisions, having a legal department and a sales department and the marketing department and all of these different operational departments to carry their load, now I sit in the chair and everything is on me. And we talk about this, and we kind of glaze over this weight. But I want to take this moment for every owner that's out there, especially if you're a woman and you're trying to navigate life and you're trying to juggle family and feelings and emotions and money and all of the things, and you feel like the weight of the world is sitting on your shoulders. Stay grounded. Don't give up. Know that you are not the only one. Know that what you're feeling, what you're experiencing is just a part of the process. So I wanted to input that and let you know, from anyone who's watching this, that needs to hear that we often like to navigate or measure our businesses in black and white. We either pass or fail. That's not how it works as an owner. There's no pass or fail. It is only continue to try, to improve, to better yourself, to better your processes, to improve your sales on a day-to-day basis. If you spend all of your time carrying the weight of what did not happen or what shoulda, coulda, woulda happened, you don't have the capacity. You won't have the capacity to focus on where your business is going. So understanding, a part of understanding that leadership style is really diving deep into the strengths that you have, but you also have to equally evaluate the weaknesses that you have. Sometimes those are habits, sometimes those are triggers, sometimes those are past insecurities that raise the head up during this process, and it's creating barriers that are negatively impacting your business. I'll tell you a funny story. If you know me, if you follow me, then you know what I say is I have 7,052 kids. But in actuality, I have 7 kids. We are a blended family. And so my kids, I made a goal because as a kid myself, not any blame on my parents or anything, as a kid, I felt like that I was misunderstood a lot. I was never a bad kid. I didn't break the law. I got good grades. I did what I thought everything was supposed to be, but I wasn't able to vocalize and be the person that I am because the people that were around me just really didn't understand me. And that impacted me throughout my adult journey, that I felt like that there was something wrong with me. And I remember when I first got pregnant with my first son, I made a vow to myself that my kids would have a voice. They would have respect, but they also would have a voice. And I would have to be able to sit in uncomfortable conversations with my kids because I wanted them to always trust the fact that they could come to me with any and everything. Well, now that my kids are older, our kids span between decades, but now that the kids are older, the most fun that I have is talking or having conversations with my adult kids. And Now, let me just be transparent. I did a really good job at it. Sometimes I feel like I did too good of a job because they don't really, they don't hold back anything. And there's a lot of my children who work in my company, and they don't have a problem telling me no. They don't really. The fact that it's a mom that in business, that doesn't matter to them because they know how to separate the business from the personal. Which is going to be another segment. But anyway, the reason that I'm having this conversation is because my at the time he was 16, my youngest. My youngest, I was in the kitchen and I was talking to my daughter-in-law, and I was talking about how I'm supposed to navigate this entrepreneur journey and reach people, and things wasn't working, and I can't get the things done in the day that I need to get done. And my 16-year-old just happened to come downstairs to make him something to eat, right? Wasn't asking him anything, but in passing, what he said to me was, well, I mean, you probably are hurting your own self because you don't get up out of bed until late in the day, and most people have done most of their business by then. I know, right? Did they hit you? Did they hit you right? I was like, I don't know if I need to chastise this kid or like that, the disrespect, but I didn't react. I had to process that. I've never been a morning person, right? It's never been a part of my ministry. And I've never shied away from it. That's just who I was. And mornings just wasn't great for me. And I didn't know for a while why. But my mornings had this tragic impact for me as a kid. And so I felt safer overnight. I felt safer when I was alone and everybody else was asleep. And I felt like that I could be myself and be okay. And so that poured into my adulthood where I just became this night person, this overnight person. But the 16-year-old knew me well enough that his advice about my my problem for trying to build my business and why things wasn't working, he didn't talk to me from a business standpoint. He talked to me from the aspect of what he knew about his mother. And that was, if you want to get more business done, then you're going to have to change some of your habits, right? And so that was the start for me. That was something that changed the momentum of my business. And I know some people are out there thinking, well, that's just logic. It may be logic to you. It was logic to me, but it was also a habit. And you're going to find that in your business journey. You're going to find that you know what you need to do oftentimes. You know what you should be doing. But it's breaking through that frozenness, that inability to act upon it that impacts your business. So know your habits, know your weaknesses, but also have a plan for what's the long-term effect. And how are you going to change that so that you can have a successful leadership role?
Every woman carries the weight of her struggles, but it's how we rebuild that defines our success. Building While Broken is a beacon for women professionals determined to turn your setbacks into stepping stones. Through actionable strategies, this book empowers you to reclaim your narrative, harness your resilience, and pursue your dreams with renewed vigor. Written by best-selling author Dr. Michelle S. Thomas. This is your guide to building a life of purpose, success, and unshakable fulfillment. Get your copy today.
What does it mean to be a secure leader? A secure leader, by definition, is a self-assured, dependable person that makes impactful decisions. Right? We know that, right? I'm an owner now, so I should sound like an owner. I should make decisions like an owner. I should always be on point, on top of things. I need to know more than everybody else around me. And my question is, who told you that? Like, where did that come from? Who told you that you had to be the expert of everything? In every corporation that's around here, they put people in places because of their skill set and because of what they know in order to fill the deficits of the person who is running the business. They complement each other. So just because you work alone or you don't have employees doesn't mean that now you have to become the master of everything. But what you do have to do or become as a leader is you have to know enough about each aspect of your business that you can discern and navigate if it's working, who do you need, what do you need, and are they executing it according to expectations. So we do one or two extremes. We either become I am woman, hear me roar, and I know everything and nobody can tell me anything. Or we say things like, well, I pay somebody for that. And the reason that I really pour into women is because some of these habits are actually naturally developed for us because of how our body makeup is. I was telling the incubator class today, and I'm going to pose the question to you. Did you know that the human brain is made different in men and women? Your frontal lobe that controls your decision making, your emotions, all of those executive functions in your frontal lobe. The frontal lobe of a woman is larger than the frontal lobe of the man, which causes us what we call maternal instincts or the emotional side of us. We're designed that way. So sometimes you put pressure on yourself because you're saying that in business, especially in business, you're not supposed to talk that way. You're not supposed to move that way. You're not supposed to say these things because all these rules that were made centuries ago about how business was supposed to be built because it was built by men. And so when women came into it, the expectations of our behaviors, our look, our dress, our weight, our face, our makeup, our hair, like for real, the rules are way too much for women. But we ain't gonna get into that. The politics of women, we just witnessed that because of our election that we just had. Women are always on the forefront of everyone's conversation, but everybody likes to speak for us and not to us. I'm sorry, that's just from the corner of the Dr. Michelle's opinion. The views that are expressed are not those of the Secure Leader Program. But anyway, here's what I need you to understand. That oftentimes what I find with women is we run away from things like numbers. Because we'll say we'll pay somebody to do that. We'll pay a bookkeeper, we'll pay an accountant. But how do you know that you have the right bookkeeper? How do you know that they're actually doing what your business needs and they're actually healthy for your business if you don't know enough about your numbers to be able to measure it? Okay? So you're dependable. You know how to make impactful decisions. That doesn't mean that you have to make every decision. The impact that I'm referring to is the fact that you know what decisions to make, what decisions to pass on, and what decisions to sit in for a minute and evaluate. That's an impactful decision. There's a difference between impactful and impulsive. The secure leader is impactful. Now, what the secure leader is not is arrogant, unreliable, and unable to make relevant decisions. What does that mean, Dr. Michelle? That means someone that walks around and acts like that they don't make mistakes, that things that life doesn't like, that I have everything perfect, my makeup is perfect, my hair is perfect, I wear the most expensive clothes and shoes and houses and cars and whatever. If you've been in business long enough, then you know that that cannot be anybody's reality. Because as human beings, we are flawed. As human beings, we are going to have problems and issues and things and setbacks that are going to happen within your business. So position yourself as a secure leader, but do not position yourself as an arrogant leader. Do not make yourself into a space or paint yourself into a corner that people can no longer relate to you. Social media wants us to believe that that's what makes people follow us. And it may initially. You may gain a lot of followers because of your confidence. But as life begins to happen to the followers, if you're not able to speak transparently to their pain points, they're going to find someone else that can. The reason that I record these sessions the way that I record the sessions is because I need you to understand that I mean, can I go and put on the right clothes and makeup and hair and make this the most perfect presentation? I absolutely could. I was a corporate trainer for 25 years. 27, but 25 years solid. I did corporate training. So I know what it looks like. I intentionally come to you as I am, as the person that I am on a day-to-day basis, making the decisions, navigating the 8 businesses that I run, because it's not pretty. It's not perfect. And I need you to see and meet me as the person that you're following. I need you to understand that you could trust me, that you can hear what I'm saying, and I'm not giving you Googleable information. I'm giving you from experience. On this YouTube channel, as we're talking about it, I want you to subscribe, and please, please, please share this with anyone that you know that needs to hear this message. But the whole purpose of me creating the Color of Success is because right now we sit into this pain point. We sit in this crust of attacks, and people are being just inhuman with the way that they're treating each other in business. And there's these predatory promises and targeting that's happening for our women business owners that are destroying our ability to make long-term successful businesses, because people are giving us snapshots of what success is. So this channel may not be for everybody, but it's for that person who has tried all of the get rich quick processes, for someone who has tried to follow the popular thing, for those who have tried to do it in the pretty manner and realize that it's not working. Come to the Color of Success. Understand the reality. Listen to real people. Find interviews that we're going to post up there of real people going through real life stuff. Why? This is the only way that together we are going to build a new solid foundation for women, especially women of color, business owners, to stand upon, to get the equality that we need, to achieve the success that we desire, to be able to build the businesses that we spent our childhood and adulthood admiring and looking at. You can do it, but you're not going to be able to do it with surface level work. So don't position yourself. Let me caution you. Let me not tell you what to do. Let me caution, because I can hear my attorney now. Stop, quit telling people what to do. Okay, listen. I caution you on always being in a position of arrogance where people cannot approach you. You are the expert. You are the owner. You are the leader. But that doesn't mean that you're not human. Please don't be unreliable. If your team can't count on you, if people cannot, and here's the thing. I'm transparent in what I do. And there's been times that I thought I was reliable, but I really wasn't, because I was all over the place. Because I couldn't get my mind wrapped around. I was so caught up in what other people would tell me that my business should do and what needed to happen. Even with all of the knowledge that I had, you guys, we're human beings. We are built for community. And so I wanted to be liked. I wanted to be respected. That's natural. But what it taught me throughout that journey, I couldn't sit here today to be able to give you solid advice if I hadn't failed so many times and learned from the lesson. So reliability actually means consistency. Doesn't mean that, again, you know all the answers, but you are available for people who have questions that's on your team, for people to give feedback from your team, for people to coach you from your team. for your clients, for your customers, for your partners. You show up. And making those relevant decisions doesn't look like I don't know or I don't care or leave me alone or that's what I pay you to do. Because the very reason that we left a lot of our corporate jobs was because we were treated that way. And did you recognize that you might have brought some of those actual feelings and processes into your own entrepreneurial journey? So don't be the leader that you left. Be the leader that you needed throughout your journey. Building that confidence. Listen, confidence is the foundation of your leadership. You have to be self-aware. You have to know on a day-to-day basis what you are feeling and how it is directly impacting what you are doing. Again, back to the incubator, we talked today about, my question was, how many people have had the confidence to cancel an appointment 5 minutes before their appointment? And if you said yes, and if you shook your head no. And so the ones that said yes, I had a challenge for them. What gave you the confidence to cancel something in the first 5 minutes? And the answers were consistent across the board. They were talking about how they tried to do everything possible to make it to the meeting, but they just wasn't able to do it. So they reached out to the client and they knew the importance of being their full self and present with the client, and they didn't want to give the client a bad session, so they canceled it. But here's where my pushback was. You knew an hour before then. You knew a day before then that something was off. So why do we wait until the final minute before we actually stand up and do the things that we need to do, especially as leaders? Because that was how we were conditioned. We were taught in business to push through it. You better show up at this meeting. It's mandatory. There was punitive processes that happened if you didn't show up. But again, you're going to hear me say this over and over again. This business is yours. It's yours. You are the captain of this ship. So going back to that reliability. Here's your litmus test. If you find yourself, because stress happens, if you're a speaker, you get anxiety. Some of us get anxiety before we go on stage. Authors, some of us get anxiety before we publish that book or training or anything. Anxiety can show up in different manners in your business presence. But if you find that you are canceling more than what you are actually executing, then you need to take time to become self-aware of why. Why? What causes me to freeze every time I get to this same process? What causes me to go into panic? So that self-awareness, you want to really embrace the strength that you have and be consistent with your improvement. You want to seek regular self-assessments to identify the strengths and areas for your growth. And so one of the tools that I have used literally for 30 years, where people didn't even know about it, they hadn't heard about it, is a SWOT analysis. And I don't use the SWOT analysis just as a tool for my business. I use the SWOT analysis when I was a manager. I literally would sit down my team, especially if I was coming new into a department. I would sit the whole team down, not just the supervisors or whatever, the whole team sits down. And they pull from a fishbowl or a cup or whatever a random name. And it's their job to take the person's name that's on that piece of paper and create a SWOT analysis from their opinion about that person. Why did I do that? The first step in business is you got to take your feelings out of it. If you want your business to be successful, you got to take your feelings out of it. If there are weaknesses and areas of opportunity within yourself or your business that you just don't want to deal with, that you want to bury your head in the sand, then those businesses are going to those opportunities and weaknesses are going to take over your business and cause it to maybe not fail, but create more barriers than your business deserves. So these SWOT analysis are not just for you to evaluate the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities, and threats for your business. Do a SWOT analysis on yourself, but do it in a consistent manner. If you're going to do a SWOT analysis, then maybe every 6 months or every year, you do your own SWOT analysis and keep the previous one so that you can compare the very strengths that you have. Are you enhancing those strengths year over year? The weaknesses that you identified last year, have you done things to change those weaknesses and move them into the strengths column? The opportunities, and when I talk about opportunities, these are opportunities that your business or yourself can take advantage of to be able to build upon the weaknesses that you have. So any of the opportunities that you write down, come on now, we're about to be the first of the year. We're always great on the New Year's resolution, and then by January 15th, we forget all of it because it's too hard. So don't do that to your business. These opportunities that you wrote down last year, if it says that you need to take a certification course, if it said that I need to do some more training, if it said I need to do a little bit more research, when you do the new SWOT analysis this year, did you apply or work on any of those opportunities? So that those weaknesses no longer remain weaknesses, that they now migrate into strengths. And threats means this those openings for either someone to come in and sabotage your business, for someone to come in and take your market share, for someone to come in and take your business away from you. These are real threats. These are, if I don't get these things fixed, I am going to lose this business. Or if I don't get these things fixed, I am not going to become the leader that I want to be. So the purpose of maintaining year over year is you want to begin to see, because things, you may fix a few weaknesses. You may change some of the opportunities and threats. But why do you do this consistently? Because there are always going to be new ones. There are going to be new strengths that you're going to acquire. There are going to be new weaknesses that are going to show up in your business. There are going to be new opportunities because of changes in technology, changes in competitors, changes in you, your products or your services, and which now is going to increase the amount of threats that are happening out there. So do that SWOT analysis. And if you don't know how to do a SWOT analysis, connect with me and we'll go through that process. Again, in the link, we're going to have a new session coming up in our new Entrepreneur Incubator program. And I keep it a certain level of attendance because it gives me the ability to have my one-on-one meetings and keep it small enough that I can pay attention to the specifics that you need for your business. But we go over the SWOT analysis in depth to be able to help you to build the dexterity of the leadership, the leader that you want to be. Now, making sound decisions. It sounds nice. You hear everybody say it, but how do you do it? Well, the first thing you need to do is you need to always gather all of the information, not just the information that you want to see. Back to those numbers. So my business isn't making any money, but I'm going to focus in on sales. I'm going to focus in on products. I'm going to focus in on marketing. I'm going to focus in on social media. But I'm not going to really, because I already know I ain't making no money. So I'm not going to focus in on the numbers. I don't even want to look at that because that makes me depressed. Where you're not gathering all of the information. Because those numbers are also a key identifier or a key indicator of what's the overall health of what's happening with your business. So you want to first gather all of the information. Don't make knee-jerk responses to things. Gather all of the information that is applicable to that decision that you need to make. But the other thing, ladies, that we need to really practice on, which is going to be one of these skills translation process, we're going to talk about risk management. And that's not just for big businesses. You need to understand how to assess the risk of your business on a day-to-day, a weekly, a quarterly, an annually basis, because these are those threats that can come in and take away all of the profits that you made or restrict or even close the business that you poured your heart and soul into. So you want to gather the information, you want to evaluate the risk, and then you also want to trust your expertise and your instinct. You've been here before. You might not have been here before in your business, but you've been in a circumstance that you had to make a hard decision, whether it was personal or professional. Even young entrepreneurs, from homework to choosing classes, these are decision making or decisions that you had to make. You had the choice of whether you're going to do your homework or not. These are decisions that you had to make. So you've been in a decision making process before. It's just maybe sometimes people haven't given you the understanding to take those same instincts and apply it to your business, because you were able to navigate through those decisions. So it will help you, those instincts, along with the information and the evaluation, will help you to make a better decision as a leader. Does that make sense? And secure leaders respect the importance of informed decision-making tools to make sound choices. That means that I come up with my decision and I evaluate it and I use all, and then I apply that, I bump it up against, I test it out in a sandbox type of environment to see what that outcome is before I implement it into my business, based on the what ifs. Maybe that's your mentor that you reach out to, that you want to go over this major decision with. Maybe it's sitting down with your team and talking about what's coming down the line and what those risks look like. Maybe it's watching a YouTube video so that you can pull pieces of information to help you better make that decision. Whatever your process is, you want to make sure that you don't make this emotional decision without applying the tools necessary to test out that hypothesis on whether it's going to work within your business environment. Developing consistency and reliability is key. You got to keep your promises. You got to stay committed. You got to follow through on the plans. Back to what I talked about on the incubator. So if you have clients or customers and you're constantly coming up with reasons, whether the reasons are valid, whether they're good or not. If I'm your client for 6 months and we're supposed to meet once a month, but 3 out of the 6 months you have canceled, rescheduled, changed the time, you're late for it, you don't show up for it, I don't hear anything back for it, you're not reliable for me, which is going to impact whether this is going to be a reoccurring client or not. So yes, life is going to happen. But back to that decision making, you then put parameters in place and tools in place so that when things do happen, there are automations or triggers or backup plans that come into play to keep your promise, your consistency, your reliability at the forefront. Yes, I had technical difficulties for today's session. Today's session went on. Yes, we actually went off topic of what today's topic was supposed to be. However, they are going to get a pre-recording of what we were supposed to talk about, or get a recording of what we were supposed to talk about today, so that we can remain on track with the incubator. But life and situations happen. My incubator is structured so that, and the reason that they get the recordings is because life happens with them too. And so there could be emergencies, there could be you're not doing well, crossovers with meetings and other obligations that you have. But that doesn't necessarily mean that because you pay for a program that you're not supposed to get all of the information. That's my consistency and my reliability, my ownership to the people who pay for my programs, which then continues them to patronize my other businesses and my other opportunities because they know me. Do your clients and customers know you? And what do they know about you? But if you're not self-aware, if you're not really evaluating who you are and how you show up, you may be navigating in a dark space that you don't know that you're in. Trust, consistency, reliability is key to your leadership. Now, does that mean that people aren't going to leave you? Absolutely not. You're still going to lose. You're still going to have turnover. You're still going to lose clients and customers. You're still going to have setbacks and things. But what that secure leader, what that consistency, what that reliability and that confidence does is it eliminates and minimizes the beat up sessions. How many know what the beat up session look like? Ooh, child. You done gave your like the folks said, you done tore yourself a new. I lost that client. I remember the first time that I had to let somebody go in my entrepreneurial journey, right? Y'all, I cried. Oh my God. I avoided it. I knew it was supposed to happen. I avoided it for weeks. Then after it happened, I was almost in a fetal position in my office. I couldn't breathe. Was hyperventilating. Why? Because I care about people. And this was what I thought. The reason that I left corporate America was so I can run my own business and have the people in place and give folks opportunity. And it was just going to be love, peace, and hair grease. I mean, it was just pure harmony. No, it wasn't. And so I had to learn how to first process through that loss. There's a grief process. And as an owner, it doesn't mean that you are a cold-hearted person. Not all owners process setbacks and terminations and things. There might be some that actually are okay with it and keep going, but just because you're able to move through that space without a problem does not mean there is not an area within your life or your business that you do grieve. So the process is the same. Doesn't matter what triggered it or triggers it, the process is still the same. You have to know yourself. You have to understand what you're walking into. And you have to be able to navigate this or you'll sabotage. I mean, there was so many times I just wanted to quit on the business. Quit. It's me. Now, does it still feel good for me to lose people or turnover or whatever? Absolutely not. Because everybody that works with me, I love like family. So when I lose somebody for whatever the reason, whether it was a choice of mine or a choice of theirs, or situations change or whatever, it doesn't feel good, but it also doesn't put me back into the fetal position because I understand that this is the price of business. So the fear, why am I talking about this? Because that fear from the first circumstance and the first time that I had to let somebody go showed up in my hiring process of my next person to replace them. Because now I just wanted them to like me. Come on, somebody. Show of hands. You just need fans. You just wanted somebody, because I'm already bruised, I'm already insecure. Things is just falling apart. I need somebody to come in and give me a win. Right? Well, that was the insecurity in me. So I had to create the security in me and understanding that this is going to happen. This is just a part of business, but I have to remain consistent in my expectations. I have to remain consistent in my level of business and my professionalism and what my expectations are for the outcome of the business, whether it's an employee or contractors. We still have to have measurables in it. And I wasn't really great in the beginning of implementing those measurables because I was hurt. And I'm telling you this because I need you to understand that what you're feeling, if you felt it, there are people of Fortune 500, 900, like I don't understand the numbers. Let me just be trained. I don't know what the difference, the 9, the 10, 11, 5. I think people, it's almost like hair extensions. Like we just making up some numbers now. But anyway, whatever these biggest corporations that you've ever looked at and what have you, even those people experience grief. Money isn't going to solve that. Success isn't going to solve that. That's a part of who you are, so you have to be self-aware. That reliability is what strengthens the trust within your team and your business relationships. So now, even if I lose people that lose from the business, we're still connected. We still keep up with each other. There's no grief of it because we understand. We understand. Which brings me to your EQ. in school, we knew our IQ, we tout about how smart we are as a leader, we talk about it in our marketing and whatever, but do you know your EQ? There's a power within emotional intelligence within leadership, your EQ. That is your self-regulation, your empathy, and relationship management. How do you handle stress? How do you handle relationships in your business? Secure leaders manage emotion and connect with each other, with others authentically. And I hear this word so much. I hear that you can show up for me or sign up for me or connect with me because I'm authentic. And then I meet the person and realize that the real person isn't what's on the screen. Again, back to the reason of why I show up this way. Do I know how to dress up? Absolutely. Do I have a whole team for it? She get on stage and all the right clothes and the right hair and whatever. But I want you to understand that when you sit in the space with me, whether I'm your coach, whether I'm your leader, whatever the relationship is, most of the time you're going to meet me. And this is how I speak. This is how I talk. This is how I have conversations with my family, with my friends, or whatever. This is just who I am. Do I articulate things different in the environments that I'm in? Absolutely. Because that's what it requires. But do I change so drastically that people who know me will ever look and say, that's not who she is? Absolutely not. This is what you're going to get, and this is who you're going to get. And again, I had to make peace with the fact that I'm not everybody's flavor. But I also know that I couldn't keep shrinking and hiding and not putting this information out there because there are people that need to hear this message. If you are one of those people, please subscribe below. That will help. But anyway, this is how I do. This is what makes me feel good. I'm a natural teacher. I love to train. I love to get information, but I also need you to understand. I got to reach you. I got to connect with you, the human you. Because if you don't know how to be authentic and navigate through this entrepreneur journey, I'm telling you, it will chew you up and spit you out. It takes even the strongest people and breaks them down because it's a lot of pressure. So I want us to be able to have these conversations. I want you to be able to approach me. I need you to be able to talk about those deep and dark things because my job, my assignment is to make sure that you make it through. We have far too much depression happening. We have far too many people that are taking their own lives because they don't have anywhere to turn. And I never want to get into a space, even as a leader, that people believe that I'm untouchable and you can't sit down and we can't yell it out, cry it out, cuss it out, or do whatever we need to do. And the reason I say it that way, if you haven't followed me, if you haven't seen me on stage, if you haven't been a client of mine, then you don't know what that means. But every last person, when you meet me, before we do contract, before we do anything, that is exactly what I'm saying. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I don't take that lightly. If you have my number and you need me, 24 hours a day, if it's 3 o'clock in the morning, I will tell you. You can call me, I could just sit there, or we can yell it out, cry it out, cuss it out, laugh it out, do whatever we need to do so that we can get you through that moment. I need to do that for entrepreneurs because there are times that we feel like that our backs are against the wall and we cannot make it past this moment because we can't make payroll, or we can't make it past this moment because the bank account is negative, or we can't make it past this moment because we don't have any clients. I am here to help you navigate through those waters and that sludge and the trenches that you feel like you cannot make it through, because you will make it through. You just need somebody on your side. So your EQ is important when it comes down to you being a leader. You have to understand, how do you regulate yourself when you get angry? How do you regulate yourself when everything really is falling apart? How do you still show up for your team? And how do you manage the relationships? What happens when your team lets you down? What happens when you feel like that things are not going? What happens if you feel like that somebody's stealing from you? How do you manage that relationship? Because again, remember, that is a circumstance within your situation. But your reputation as a leader goes far beyond that circumstance. So even in adversity, even in bad times, even in hard times, how you handle that impacts who you are as a secure leader. I know somebody's looking at the screen now and ready to turn it off. If you've turned it off by now, just turn it back on. Just turn it back on. Just turn it back on. Rock with me and understand. I'm not asking you to be fake. What I need you to do is, because you're training your own brain on what type of leader that you are. And if every time there's adversities that happen, you react to them, you will continue to react to them. If people in your ecosystem can learn that the smallest things can set you off, you will meet people throughout this journey that will purposely try to set you off, not just behind closed doors. And we're in this environment of bees. You could be at the grocery store, you could be wherever you want to be, but when you position yourself as an expert, you put yourself out there in the public eye, you could be prepared that someone could be recording you and what you're doing. It's up to you to decide on whether that's okay for the brand that you are building. What is emotional intelligence? Emotional intelligence, also known as emotional quotient or EQ, is the ability to understand, use, and manage your own emotions in positive ways to relieve stress, communicate effectively, empathize with others, overcome conflicts and overcome challenges and defuse conflicts. Show of hands, how many? That's just Tuesday for you, right? Every day. Every day there's challenges that come up that sometimes you feel like, oh my God, this is it. I finally mastered this. We're on our way, and then something happens to abruptly interrupt that celebration. Your EQ is going to determine how you navigate past that. Handling challenges with calm and confident mindset. The first picture. Stay grounded. I put the video in the middle because it's hilarious for me, because it is the burning of the bridges, right? It's the whole process of, I am going to set it all on fire. Nothing is working. This is terrible. We just throw the baby out with the bathwater. And you may be laughing now, but do you show impulsiveness within your business? So you want to stay grounded. You want to avoid those impulsive reactions. I'm sorry, I just felt that this moment, blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, your team is watching. Your clients are watching. Your customers are watching. So that impulse for you may be an impact for them. And you also want to strategize solutions. You want to make sure that before you're implementing things and making changes, which oftentimes even I fell into the trap, I'm seeking sales and I'm trying to get customers and clients so much that I'm just throwing everything out there because it worked for somebody else, and I forgot the strategy. So now I don't make decisions without strategizing the full impact. Whether I need the money or not, I'm going to create the strategy so that it can be sustainable. Practical steps to become a secure leader. Back to what that 6-year-old told me. Evaluate the daily habits, man. What's your daily habit outside of business? What do you do? Do you focus in on your business? Do you have to your business? See, here's the thing. This is what I used to tell my kids. Your integrity and your ethics are most prominent when you're alone. You can write down things. You could chat GPT the way to describe my ethics and integrity and do all that stuff. But when you sit in the dark by yourself, that's when you know what your ethics and your integrity is. When there's no one standing over your shoulder forcing you to do things the right way, that's when it challenges your ethics and integrity. And that stuff shows up in your daily habits. And oftentimes when I talk to coaches, and listen, this is not a slight at any of us. We're great teachers. We're terrible patients. We're terrible clients. Because we teach all of these great tools and things, but we don't apply them to our own self until you have to sit down and evaluate yourself as a successful leader. So you need to create those daily habits. You need to constantly be learning new things about your industry, about technology, about the shifts and changes in the economy, learning where your target audience is, where they show up now, what the expectations are, and new creations and developments about products and services that are out there to help your business. But as a woman, it is very, very important for the efforts of you becoming a secure leader for you to set clear boundaries for yourself. Quit becoming Wonder Woman. Minimize the knee-jerk reaction to take on any and everything because you feel like that it's going to grow your popularity or grow your ability to make money. It is just growing your ability to crash. Emotionally, physically, psychologically, crash. So I want you to set clear boundaries. And there are times, there are stop points when your body is giving you indication that you're tired. Set those clear boundaries. Set the boundaries between personal life and business life. Set the boundaries between what you're putting yourself out there to do because the best made plans are meant to be broken. And if something happens that you find out that you're no longer able to sustain, then you need to be able to clearly communicate that shift. I want to leave you with, we have a space, one of my entities is called Be Here. It's a space for leaders. And I felt like that it was really applicable. You rarely find, we're going to have sponsorships, you'll see commercials, you'll see information about me, but sales is not my thing. But it was really important for me to let you know that the information about this secure leader is a snapshot of what it takes to become a secure leader. Be Here is a space strictly for leaders. We have operation training, we have couples or family training, we have elite performance one-on-one coaching opportunities. We do athletes and stars and reality stars, that type of training and coaching. And from CEOs and owners and VPs, we have those levels of coaching also. So the link will be below in the message in the information center for our website. But look through that and see if there are any services that you want to at least inquire about with Be Here and connect with that space, that community, because it's a community strictly just for leaders, but it's a safe space. It has been built so that you as a leader can come in and ask the questions that you need to ask, receive the tools and the resources that's exclusive to this community, but also find the space that you can be vulnerable in, because this is the only way, again, to minimize our closures, minimize our setbacks and our failures in our business, because especially as a people of color, we have been conditioned to navigate in silos. So it was important for me to build a space that was strictly for leaders, that your team can't be a part of, that your employees you can't see, that you can come in just for yourself as a leader and be able to exhale, ask questions, cry if you need to, laugh at some things that are happening out there, but connect with other leaders and learn the right way to own a business. So this is my time. I appreciate you guys rocking with me. Stay tuned for our next episode of Skills Translation, where we're going to talk about true business operations. I found out that in entrepreneurship, oftentimes we don't really understand what business operations are. So we're going to really cover and dive into what business operations are to help you to evaluate your business operation and figure out if there are things that you need to improve or things that you need to implement into your business so that we can build your level of success. Again, I am your host, Dr. Michelle S. Thomas. I thank you for your time. And as I said in the beginning, the only thing that I ask you to do is if this spoke and resonated to you, please share it with someone else. Our goal is to reach tens of thousands of people to be able to change the landscape for entrepreneurship. We have to learn more. What they say, when you know more, the more you know, the better that you do. So you need to make sure, and that's not the quote, but I can't think of it right now. But you know more, you know better, you do better. And so you want to make sure that you are getting information that is broad based enough that you can pull from these resources and pull from this information what you need. This is not a blanket type of training series. This is where things that you might have never thought of or maybe have never been introduced to, you learn more so that you can pull what you need to implement into your business for its long-term success. I will see you guys on the next episode. Share it with someone that you know. Subscribe below, and we will meet again.